Hi and welcome to this week's video. Well, we get a bit further with the oil cooler and the cowl side of life, but not a huge amount done. On the grounds I'm back to being rather stiff in the neck and back. Hey ho! Anyway, let's see what I did manage to do. There we go with the two sort of lips at the back there. Just had a quick dust over with primer just so I could see what areas need to have some final spot fill work with a knifing putty of some sort, a knifing stopper. Little bits just there, a little bit just there, nothing too bad. And there's the whole thing really. It needs, the whole lot needs to have a little bit of stopping primer in, stopping filler put into one or two small imperfections. Then it needs to be sprayed over with a high build filler primer, and it could be have its final coat of paint. I've got to put in some fasteners along the edges there, some anchor nuts on this, and on the upper cowl I've got to put in the quarter turns. I could have used quarter turns on this for quite a chunk of it, but there's two mounting points, one here and one there, which wouldn't be able to be quarter turns, and I don't see the great need to go in underneath the cowl, take the cowl off on a really regular basis, except for during the initial test operation. So I'll just have to live with using M4 screws, I think, going around. But there we go. And the front cowl piece, which you've seen in earlier episodes of me making up panel beating, will be riveted on after painting. So I'm going to put this, let this just fully dry, the primer fully dry. I've dusted over it, and then I'll put it on. There we are, looking from the front, looking back. You can still see that the air intake is offset to the left as we're looking at it, starboard side. From the centre line, you can sort of tell that from the two stringers on the fuselage. So the gaps slightly different on the two lips of the cowl. It doesn't look too bad, but it doesn't look perfect. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't move the carb or aero injector to the right as we look at it. It's fixed by the intake manifold. So there we are. The air filter is attached to that, and it's only temporarily attached. So I've got a bit more of a gap this side than I have this side. This side has been pulled over very slightly as well to give a clearance. So this side here is shorter than it is here by a little bit. This has sort of just been averaged across. I'm not going to bring it forward here or anything like that. I'm just leaving it like that. So it does look at just a touch wacky, but then how many people are going to look at the aircraft from here? I'm not going to run many people over so they can get a look at it like that. And it's only really noticeable if you look at it right straight on. It makes it look like this goes back a little bit, but it isn't. It's actually dead level, but the way things are, I might just do a little bit of a modification there just to go look a little bit. But when you look at it from underneath here, well, that's what it shows. It's relatively, bearing in mind this is offset, it's relatively even sort of curve going around. I think I can live with it. Well, it does my OCD in a little bit. I think I can live with it. The only thing I could do to get around that a lot would be to make up some sort of I don't know, fairing here with a duct going back to hide the fact that that is offset. That's a possibility, maybe, but I don't really want to go down that route. That's just adding weight and doesn't do anything for us other than that slight aesthetic. So I think I will leave it as it is. If you think differently or got some nice suggestions, stick them in the comments for me. I've got time to do some things with it. Please do not be offended if I dismiss your suggestions there on the grounds that it's got to be to do with time, cost, and most importantly weight, and of course the tooling that I've got available. Okay, so here we are looking through from the front. Got the baffle bit in. I've riveted up the flap and the hinge onto the duct section. So operating range, well, I don't know how far it'll be until I make up the horn, but that would be the maximum closure. And as you can see, there's gaps, still gaps up here on each side, so there will be some air passing through past the, the sump and things. And I'll put some rubber along the top of the oil cooler section, but not quite sealing up the fins at the back end there, and that should hopefully just encourage air to go through the oil cooler. I can only see us having the flap fully open when we're on like high power during climb and things like that. I can imagine that pretty much within the cruise and things in the UK this flap will be somewhere halfway probably, and during startup this flap will be closed up like that to help get the oil up to temperature relatively quickly, and possibly even during descents if I find the engine cooling a little bit faster than I'd like, or the oil's cooling a bit faster than I'd like. Got to keep an eye out on shock cooling the cylinders anyway, but I don't want the oil to get overly cold. So it'll be something to monitor and find out what's required during the test flying, how the flap will be operated. It may well just become almost redundant and be left in the fully open position. I don't know yet. Well, that's it for this week. I'm struggling just doing this bit of a video for the outro at the moment. Not quite sure what's wrong, but I seem to have like a crick in the neck going down quite well down my back. But hey ho, we've got some stuff done. Hopefully next week we'll get to do the repair on the fuselage side. That's what I'd like to do. Anyway, catch you next week. Hopefully you'll keep well. Bye now. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. You can subscribe or even hit the little bell notification for future videos. Any comments would be appreciated, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Remember, go fly and feel the sky.